Good morning. My name is Betty Harris, and I welcome you this morning to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Whether you are here in the auditorium or at home, you're welcome, and I invite you to join us for about 15 minutes of meditation. I'd like to begin with a reading, and this is a reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries, all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. And let me remind you that charity is sometimes used as an alternative word for love. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity, or love, suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not, vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endures all things. Charity or love never fails, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there is tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it will vanish away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man or a woman, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. For now I know in part, but then shall I know even as I also am known. And now abideth faith, hope, and charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity, or love. And I invite you to close your eyes and simply to take a few deep breaths and to settle for about 15 minutes of meditation into this thought that we are here to practice love, to practice charity, and that we do so on a daily basis. at home, and always for the presence of God. And so it is.
welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living's Sunday celebration service. My name is Carol Cross. I'm one of the licensed practitioners here. My pronouns are she and her, and I am standing in for our beloved Reverend Dusty, who is taking one of her well-deserved weekends off. But we know that she's here in heart and spirit, but hopefully her body is out in the sun having fun. If this is your first time at the center, we would like to not just welcome you, but embrace you. So we believe in global transformation through personal transformation. But we know that every individual's journey to having a personal relationship with the divine is unique and different. So we accept you, we love you, we embrace you just as you are in this moment and wherever you are on the path. We are all spiritual seekers, but we just find it's more fun when we're doing it together. So we are part of a larger organization known as the Centers for Spiritual Living. We are one of the over 450 different spiritual centers, teaching chapters, and special ministries in 30 countries around the world. So CSL is a practical philosophy and faith and way of life of using spiritual principles to create the world, a life that you love. So all of our teachings are dedicated towards that. And we support this goal not only for our personal betterment, but for the CSL overall goal of creating a world that works for everyone. So thank you for being here today. I also want to thank Reverend Betty Harris for her beautiful meditation, which sort of set the tone for today's service, and who is also serving as our practitioner and platform host this morning. So thank you, Reverend Betty. So I'm going to start off with a few special announcements. So today is a wonderful holiday. It is Father's Day. And we love to acknowledge the important role that these fathers play in our lives, individually and as a community. And when we speak of fathers, we're speaking not only of men who are literally fathers. We're talking about all the people who contribute to especially younger people's lives through teachers, coaches, scout leaders, chess and other club organizations, all those people who are helping our children to grow up well. And we also acknowledge those single parents who may be female or non-binary or something else, who play both the role of the mother and the father in their families. So our holiday is all-inclusive, embracive of all the different ways that fatherhood can look. So before she left, Reverend Dusty left us this video to play to acknowledge the important role that fathers play in our society.
This is Dad Life. It's how we live 24/7, 365. Check me. Gas station glasses, don't care what the masses think about me with my sweet goatee. I'm rocking my Dockers with a cuff and a crease. I got that St. John's Bay and a clip for my piece. I look nice. I got dozens of dollars and that's right. It goes straight to my daughters and my wife. I'm a miracle dad, making magic with the checkbook is the talent I have. I roll hard in the yard with a 60-inch cut.
Zero turn radius, my neighbors say, what? They be driving by, peeping my landscape. Yo, these greens got nothing on my manscape.
Hydrangeas, begonias, crepe myrtles, ornamental turtle. Hold up, is that a weed in my fescue?
Aw, nah, round up to the rescue. It's the dad life, it's the dad life. Take my daughter to the party, it's the dad life. It's the dad life, it's the dad life. Shooting vids of the kids, it's the dad life. Roll up to the splash pad, 10 a.m. My whole entourage hops out the minivan. We splishy splashy for an hour or two, then it's back to the house, prepping for the barbecue.
Brats, dogs, racker ribs, whatever. Get me on the Weaver, man, nobody does it better. Call me Lord of the Grill, I'm king of the coals. Nana's secret recipe, you know how I roll.
1080p, 16 by 9. I'm rocking man cave status with a screen like mine. Keep your peanut butter hands off my 50-inch Vizio. Pop up the corn, roll the Disney video.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
We got Aladdin, Jasmine, Abu, the genie. With kids like mine, everybody wants to be me.
Sing a night song and then it's off to bed. This is the dad life, no more to be said. It's the dad life, it's the dad life. Hit the mall, coaching ball, it's the dad life. It's the dad life, it's the dad life. Playing rough, fixing stuff, it's the dad life. It's the dad life, it's the dad life. Yeah, you know how we do it, it's the dad life.
So, of course, dads, we aren't laughing at you. We're laughing with you. But as the saying goes, anybody can be a father. But it takes a special man to be a dad. So, we don't say it enough, but today especially, we do say, we love you, we see you, and we know who you truly are. And God bless you. And so it is. All right. So, but that's not our only holiday this week. So on Wednesday, we are celebrating Juneteenth. So Juneteenth is a celebration of when the Union Army got to Galveston, Texas, which was sort of the most remote part of the slave-owning country, and officially liberated the enslaved people there. And so it has been called the longest-running African-American holiday. But in 2021, President Joe Biden signed legislation that made it a federal holiday. So now it is a holiday for all Americans, as it should be. And there's much that I love about Juneteenth, but I think Juneteenth is especially a very CSL kind of holiday, because here's the deal. When they passed the Emancipation Proclamation, it's great, beautiful, but it was a piece of paper. And Dr. Martin Luther King said, freedom is never willingly given by the oppressors. So it's not like slave owners said, oh, went down to the people that they were using as property and say, well, President Lincoln signed this piece of paper, so I guess you're free. That's not how it works, unfortunately. So in reality, the Emancipation Proclamation was only an intention. And that intention had to be followed up with dedicated action to make it happen. And unfortunately, in this case, that was mostly warfare. That most enslaved peoples only became free when the Union Army took control of that area and was able to liberate the people who were being used as property. So it was actually 900 days after the Emancipation Proclamation when these enslaved people in Galveston were told that they were now free. So it's just a good reminder. So that's why for me it's a really spiritual holiday, as well as a great celebration of an increase in our national implementation of our beliefs in freedom. So we want to celebrate that, and maybe also talk or think a little bit about the work that's still to be done, because as we know, none of us are truly free until all of us are free. So happy Juneteenth, everyone. So enjoy. But then the very next day, we have another holiday, which is the summer solstice. So, so June 20th this year is the summer solstice, which means it's the day that has the most sunlight in this part of the world. In Martin's homeland, it's going to be the day with the shortest amount of sunshine. But, and it is officially the first day of of summer, the first official day of summer. So in pagan tradition, it's called Litha. And it is generally celebrated by going out in the sun. So it's not a federal holiday, so most of us still have to work, but hopefully you can find some time to go out, enjoy the sun, say thank you to the sun. That's another thing we take for granted a lot, because where would we be without the sun? Not in a good place. And celebrate that this is now a new season of summer. And summer is a great season because after all of the activity in spring, energetically, summer is a time when we get to take our foot off the wheel a little bit. We still need to be taking those dedicated actions, but it's a time to sit back and allow all the seeds that we've planted to manifest. So take a moment, and on Thursday, take a moment and think about, what are you going to manifest this summer? So happy solstice, everyone. So with all of that celebratory energy, let's all rise up and sing our congregational song, which is You and Me by Eddie Watkins Jr.
Shining as you and me. One love, loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love, loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is.
Good morning. So I hope that woke all of you up if you were even a little bit asleep, okay? That really supported me a lot because, today I get to do the announcement. So I'm really excited. And I'm always really excited about doing the announcements. But that gave me a little extra so I appreciate it. So, our announcements for today. On Wednesdays, we have our evening services throughout 2024, and they are called Beyond Sunday. So please join us at 7 p.m. on Zoom. The link is available on our Wednesday newsletter or on our website. During the month of June, you are invited to join us as we dive deeply into the inspiration of Tricia Hersey's book, Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto. Now, Rest is Resistance is a call to action and manifesto for those who are sleep deprived, searching for justice. I am always searching for justice, and longing to be liberated from the oppressive grip of grind culture. And you really need to learn more about what grind culture is, because I think you'll find that we're all oppressed by grind culture. Okay. Now, Reverend Betty Harris, myself, Amy, and Jamila Kelly, who, if you've seen her, you know her, will facilitate the conversation. So please, if you can join us, please come out, because it would be a great opportunity. And we only have 2 more Wednesdays left. Okay. Second announcement, Spirit Speak Boutique, owned and operated by our beloved member, Miss Eileen Proctor, is partnering with TCSL to make available a line of short sleeve t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies in a variety of colors. Now, these garments have our logo on the front and a powerful affirmation statement on your back. And I think if you look at your screen, if you're here in the room, you can see one being modeled on the display. When Eileen is here, she always has a shirt on, so it's really great to see them because it helps you to remember exactly what you're getting and how beautiful and how amazing they are. So a portion of all the sales are being donated back to the center, to TCSL. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Eileen at Spirit Speak Boutique, I'll get it right eventually, at gmail.com. And her telephone number is 919-526-0206. Okay. The third announcement. This is an invitation to explore your psyche with an expanded state of consciousness through neurodynamic breath work. Oh, such an amazing opportunity. On Sunday, June 23rd, Brianne Staggs will once again facilitate a group session of conscious breathing. Also, it is called conscious breathing, but a lot of people know it as neurodynamic breath work. So whether you've heard it that way or you hear it as conscious breathing, it is exactly the same thing, and it's absolutely amazing. Conscious breathing has been recognized as a powerful tool for personal growth for thousands of years. Okay, so join us for a session and discover the benefits of breath work within a state of safeness and sacred group space. She is amazing at creating such a safe container for us to be in. This event will be held on Sunday, June 23rd, following services from 12:15 until 4 p.m. The suggested fee is $45 with a sliding scale is also available. Registration is required before the workshop. You can register at info@trianglecsl.org. Okay? Thank you. The fourth announcement and our final announcement, now this is a little bit of work, but I want you to hear because this is an important announcement, okay? Whew, I don't know if you can tell how excited I am to read this announcement, but this is pretty key. All right. This announcement is for our annual Friend and Fundraiser. It's called Gourmet for God. Woo! I love this, if you can't tell. I mean, I loved all the other ones too, but I really love this, okay? Because I just discovered it for the first time last year. Woo! And it was amazing. So Gourmet for God is a unique community builder and fun fundraiser for our center. Throughout the month of June, this month that we're in right now, okay, we will be accepting hosts and events. So the events are created and hosted by TCSL people. They involve inspired meals and other activities of all kinds, such as a casual picnic at sunset, elegant meals with charades, fun food-related outings, cooking class, a craft-related event with lunch, and more. Okay? Gourmet for God hosts, sponsor, and host events that can be simple or elaborate. Some hosts provide pizza, and others use their own unique passion and creativity to provide culinary delights. No cooking skills are required, which is quite true because I hosted one with my beloved, and I didn't have to utilize any cooking skills to make that happen. Okay, mind you, he might have utilized all of his cooking skills, but no cooking skills were required for me, so absolutely a wonderful event. Costco and BJ Warehouse cook well. So just saying, if you need to go pick up some food elsewhere and bring it to utilize, you can, if you don't have a beloved such as I. So, all right. Thank you. Yeah, he's a keeper. Hosts can sponsor more than one event. Pair up with a co-host to offer a distinctive event. That's an idea. Complete a separate host registration form for each event. Once your potential dates are determined and your plans are fully developed, please submit your host registration by Sunday, June 30th. To avoid scheduling 2 or more events on the same date and time, please secure your event date now. If you wish to check on any calendar dates or any opportunities, just reach out to Miss Heather, okay? Because she will make sure that you are able to host your event at the time. And if you're not sure, just reach out to her at info@trianglecsl.org, okay? Then throughout July, we will facilitate a silent auction. Ooh. The silent auction begins on Sunday, July 7th, and ends on Sunday, July 28th. If you've participated in other silent auctions before, you most likely are familiar with placing your bid to buy the whole event. Well, this is a little different. In Gourmet for Gods, you're bidding on a seat at the event. If the event holds 6 people, then you're bidding for one of those 6 seats. You can also bid for more than one seat if you plan to bring your spouse, your partner, or a friend. Anyone can bid, and there is no limit to how many events you can bid for. Okay? And you do not need to be a TCSL member to participate. Then all you have to do after you've bid and you found out which ones you had successful bids for, then you just come to the events. And that starts on August 8th and it goes through November 17th. So it's a fun time to be had by all. Okay? Thank you so much for the announcements.
So I would like to call up to the podium the Reverend Betty Harris, who is going to be our platform host and our practitioner. Thank you, Reverend Betty.
I'm sorry. It's just too complicated to keep up with these things. Whew. Okay. The theme for the year 2024 is a grand rising. And our theme for the month of June is holy boldness. Reverend Tom's message is unbounded and unstoppable in parenting. And I'm going to read this community's purpose statement. This is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. Thank you. Now, I'd like to invite you to turn within, to open your hearts and minds, and let the sounds of the crystal bowls wash over you. Bring your attention back into the room and into your body. And I ask you to welcome The people who are going to help with this, Amy Ludwell and one of the gentlemen on the back row. Oh, okay. I didn't know who had agreed. Okay. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented in this ceremony. It is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. And Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. Thank you. Thank you. And I invite you to take a minute to close your eyes and let us celebrate, tune into the presence of God. Knowing that God is within reach of each of us in all things, indeed is in all things. So we recognize that presence and that we and God are always one. I know that God is always loving, always supportive, always with us. We settle into that presence and celebrate the everlasting God. And as we do that, we recognize and celebrate, too, the presence of each person here. I know that we are one with each other and one with God. I am grateful for the presence of each individual, knowing that as we come together this morning, whether you are here in this room or joining us on the Zoom program, we do so to celebrate our unity, our integration with God, and our celebration of being together and looking forward to the time we have together this morning. I also speak a word of gratitude to each father who is here this morning, whether in form or in memory, and for each individual who has lived out the role of father in any situation. That masculine, supportive role can be enacted by anyone who loves and cares for others. And we are grateful for individuals who live out that role in our lives. I speak a word, too, of celebration and gratitude to each person who, through their presence and their actions, supports this service. For Cindy Johnson, who brings us the music this morning, who leading us to focus on what is beautiful and loving for each other. For Heather and for Martin, who keep the service moving through their work with the cameras, the computers, and anything else that supports the service and makes it available, both within this room and to all who now or in the future views and participates in it at home or elsewhere. I'm grateful, too, for Amy Ludwell and all who helped to prepare this room and support each other present, and for her bringing to us the reminders of what is going on in the church this week. For Carol, who participates in and supports the service as a whole, and for Reverend Tom, who brings us the Father's Day message, and who, in his roles as father and grandfather, illuminates for us the blessings of that role. As we move forward, everyone who plays supportive roles in our lives, whether in the form of father or as a loving, caring parent of whatever type, we are grateful to God for their presence. And so it is. Okay. Our reading for today is from a Qigong. Qigong is a way of life brochure, and it is called Everything is Energy. It reads, all energy is vibration. Every cell in your body, every thought in your mind, every feeling you have is vibrating at a certain frequency, and you can choose to change the vibration. And so to do some of that, I welcome Cindy Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is what I know, that we are all connected. The universe reflected in each shining part, and everywhere I go, I recognize the faces. All of my relations in this one heart, and all I need is already looking through these eyes, nearer than my breathing, closer than hands and feet. We are dreaming together all the gifts of heaven and earth, and so I receive all I can be. Now I let it go with such appreciation, with sheer exhilaration. Now I set it free, and so it is, and so it be. When I sing it, I can see it. I welcome us in, and now we begin.
Amen indeed. Thank you so much, Cindy. That was so beautiful. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce our speaker, Reverend Tom Pitman. Reverend Tom, a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, served as colonel in the U.S. Marine Corps and a special deputy attorney general with the North Carolina Department of Justice. But once he retired, he got the call to ministry, and he and his wife Karen moved down to Florida to live so that he could study at the ministerial school there full time. But fortunately for us, once he finished his studies, he returned to us in the Triangle area. So now, in addition to supporting TCSL in many ways, including our weekly Tuesday morning prayer calls, Reverend Tom has a special focus ministry called Fully Free, Fully Alive, which is dedicated to working with people in recovery. And in addition to that stellar career and his great spiritual workings, he and Karen managed to raise 5 daughters. So I don't know anybody who is better prepared to give our Sunday, our talk today than Reverend Tom. So I ask you to greet a man of country, a man of community, a man of family, and a man of faith, Reverend Tom Pitman.
Well, I know that Carol's creative, so I thought, what kind of an introduction is she going to do? And one of the first things that came to my mind was the old Tonight Show. And you remember when Ed McMahon would introduce Johnny Carson, he'd say, "And here's Johnny." Then I thought, no, it probably will be like the little girl in the movie Poltergeist, when the spirit came back and she says, "He's back." So anyway, here I am. I'm trying to get my notes together. It used to be I could remember all these things and I didn't have to have the notes. But I found as I get older, 2 things are true. One is you never pass up a good bathroom, and the other one is you always carry notes because you're going to need them. Just remember that. If you don't take home anything else, just remember, those days are coming for all you young ones. Well, in our teaching, we say God is perfect, whole, and complete. And as I go through and I do my spiritual practices, I meditate on things and I contemplate on things. That's one of my favorite spiritual practices. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, is God really perfect? And then the more I thought about it, I thought, God may not be perfect. Maybe God dropped the ball at least once in my life. I grew up in north central Ohio, small town, country town, farming community. And I grew up in this family that was my mom, my dad. I was the oldest son, and I had a younger brother. I didn't know anything about girls until I started dating them, and I realized they were fun. So I get married, and we have not 1, but 5 daughters. And they come out and they hand them to you, and they're this little bundle, and they're just cute, and they're cuddly, and they're soft, and they smell real nice. But I got to tell you, after 5+ decades, I hate to admit this, I'm not perfect because I don't have a clue how to understand women. I'm a lost cause, and I've decided at least God dropped the ball in my case. But think about it now. If you go to IKEA and you buy a furniture item or a cabinet, or you go to Souter Furniture and you buy a desk or a bookshelf, and it comes in a box, and you go home and you spread the parts around, and it's got an instruction book, and it says take part A and put it in B and connect it with C. And here I had 5 of these most complex organisms known in the world, ever created. And they came with no instructions. So it was sort of like, how does that feel? Remember, I was in the military, and I was used to knowing and being able to predict what we were going to do. We planned for everything. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was a blind person with a cane walking around, or maybe I was trying to read using Braille. I had no idea what to do. You think you're going out into the world, you're going to make a difference, and all of a sudden somebody says, okay, well, now you're a parent. And by the way, you're a teacher, and you're supposed to be a role model. And how does that fit for you? And I went, well, can somebody else do this? Because what I found is parenting is an ever-evolving life experience. It goes on and on. Yeah, my girls are all adults now. I have grandchildren, some of which are becoming adults. And there's still times, there's still calls on me, not as often as when they were little, to be a parent and offer a listening ear or sometimes parenting advice. And I'll tell you, I still get it backwards at times when I offer advice and what they want is a listening ear. So, yeah, I'm a work in progress. What can I say? But one of the things that's true of us as parents is we think back and we go, gee, did I screw up my kids here or there or something like that? And we worry about it. And, you know, it's not like you go, oh, yeah, I did okay, they're doing okay. You get these reminders. You know, they'll come and they'll do something or they'll say something and you go, oh, no, don't do that because I did that and it didn't work. Let me tell you it didn't work. So our theme for today is unbounded and unstoppable. And I thought, is that an appropriate theme for Father's Day? And I really had to think about it. I read through the outline that they sent us and suggested outline, and I thought, wow, is this really a good theme for today? And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, it is. It really is. And let me explain to you why. If there's anything you have to do to parent, you have to believe in yourself, or you cannot do a credible job of being a parent. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. But you have to believe. You have to have that courage to say yes, to be a parent and to be there and be present for that child. You know, the only thing that ever holds us back, not just in parenting, but in our lives itself, the only thing that ever holds us back from having peak performance, and this is true in parenting as well, is ourselves. We have this fear that, oh my God, I won't do it right. We have doubts. Am I making the right choice here? So all those things stay with us, and you know what the real truth is? Funny as it may be, the truth is that deep down inside, there's a sacred knowing within you that's always there. It's always supporting you. It's always guiding you. You know, we were created ready to take on any obstacle in life, no matter what the challenge may be. We were created to take it on with faith, with strength, and with trust in Spirit's help and guidance. So what does that mean for us to be unbounded and unstoppable? And I thought about that for a while, and the word that came to me was, it means freedom. To be fully free, it means you have no inner and no outer restraints. You actually show up and act and exist. You be from a place of pure authenticity. It's what we talk about being our authentic self. My favorite definition of freedom is from one of my favorite authors, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he says, freedom is not the right to live as we please, but the right to find out how we ought to live in order to fulfill our potential. Let me say that again. Freedom is not the right to live as we please, but the right to find out how we ought to live to fulfill our potential. You see, freedom is that divine quality that represents free will. It represents independent expression. It represents creativity. And it represents liberty. And those things, if we live that way, if we truly live free and we make sure each other lives free, we see less and less and less instances of injustice. Because we are not free unless we desire freedom for everyone. Now, I believe the greatest freedom of all is the freedom of choice. We choose every day. And you either choose consciously, you may choose unconsciously, you may choose subconsciously. But you are choosing every instant of your life. We are always at choice, and that's a message I tell you every time I speak, every time I teach. I remind folks, you're always at choice. And I know for me, the way I remind myself of this is in the morning when I do my morning treatment or affirmative prayer. I always acknowledge that I am at choice and that I exercise this great freedom intentionally and mindfully. And I do so by listening quietly for that still small voice of spirit to speak to me through my intuition, guiding me and instructing me to choose wisely the most life-affirming thoughts, words, and actions for myself and for all concerned in every experience, every expression, in every now moment. And that helps me focus on doing that throughout the day. Now, there's times I mess up, I stub my toe. We are human beings, we do make mistakes. But it's there, and I repeat it often enough that I remember it, and I can right myself and go back to using it. Pardon me for just a moment, I'm getting dry. You see, when you don't seek divine guidance, you open yourself to internal and external limitations. And these things appear very real, but they're all illusions. When you listen to the divine guidance, they disappear. They just kind of float away. There are no limitations in God, absolutely none. There are only limitations we have are those we impose upon ourselves, those we perceive ourselves. And what can you do about that? Well, you have the ability to change your perceptions. You can go and you can change all those stories you tell yourself, and you can reframe them. That's part of being unbounded and unstoppable. So how do you do that? Well, you remember our reading for today. If everything's energy, including all of your thoughts, all of your words, all of your actions, it's all energy. You set it into motion, it's vibrating, and you can change that vibration. You can change the content of all of it. And we do that. We talk about doing our inner work, and what we're talking about, for me as a parent, when I start to think about, boy, I did these things, and boy, did this cause a bad situation for my kids. I go back, I look at it, and I say, maybe it wasn't so bad. How can I look at this a different way? Can I change this story? And I was reading an article from about 5 years ago in some of our literature, and what it suggested was that everything that occurs has within it the potential for our learning and our growing. Everything in your life has that potential. It's just a possibility. It doesn't do it unless you allow it. But you can go back now, and I can go back and I can look at these things, and it offered some questions that I use all the time. So I look at these old situations that are just nagging at me and causing my stomach to be upset. And the questions are, what can I have learned from that situation? What in that situation, that experience, can help me grow? Can I find anything in that experience for which I can today be grateful? Now, you can vary those questions and apply them to your life right now as things occur. You go, what can I find in this situation that I can learn from it? What can I find that can help me grow? What can I find that can help me be grateful? But what it does to those old things is it helps you change that story, and it's not as hurtful. You go, oh, there was a good reason. The good things did come out of that. And that story loses its power as you change the ending. It doesn't have that power to grab you as it used to. So we become unbounded. We become unstoppable by living with full trust in our intuitive senses as Spirit speaks to us, because Spirit always speaks with loving guidance. So now, what does this have to do with parenting? Well, actually, it has absolutely everything to do with parenting. Our fears and doubts come up because I wonder whether I've harmed my children, but that is what we are. Every one of us, without exception, every one of us have unhealed parts of ourselves. And when we've allowed them to exist, in some cases, they have hurt others. And it's not just our own children, it happens in all of our relationships. And so as I look at it, what I want to say to them and to myself, to anyone I've hurt and to myself is, pardon me, it was never for a lack of love for my children or for people in my relationships. It was always for a lack of love of myself. And as I realize that as I grow more in love for myself, I can extend that love out. I put it out there, and I can learn from it. And we can heal relationships that way. Now, as I look back on my parenting, I look at it differently now. Did I make mistakes? Sure, I did. Did my daughters pick up some of them and mimic them? Yeah, unfortunately, they did. I always like it better when they go, oh my God, I've become my mom. I feel better when they say that. It's when they go, well, I learned that from you. And I went, oh my goodness. But think of it this way. We go through life as parents, we think we're the teachers. Puff out our chests, we're guiding our children through life's complexities. But often it's they who actually become the most insightful instructors. They're watching everything. And through their innocence, their curiosity, and their boundless love, they're going to be open to learning, but they're going to be standing by ready to reveal the truths of life back to us. And the nice thing about it is, in most cases, they're going to do it fairly kindly. So I want to share with you, and for all of you who have been in any position of working with children, not just as a parent, but maybe as an aunt, an uncle, a relation, or just being around children a lot. Maybe you've had some of these teachings as well. So I want to share with you 5 lessons I've learned from this most unexpected source, my daughters. Now, I will tell you so you'll understand some of the things. These are 5 girls born over a span of 10 years. I never have owned a 6-bedroom house, so there was always having to share bedrooms. Sometimes that created its own difficulty. But the first thing I learned from my girls was to embrace wonder. Now, not wonder like wandering around, wonder like something is wonderful. To embrace wonder. Children see the world with fresh eyes every single day. A simple flower, a butterfly, a puddle that's just begging to be jumped in. We've all had that situation. We know that dandelions are a weed. I remember my father going, if I don't get rid of all of these dandelions, and he would dig and he'd spray, and I did the same thing. But almost every child has picked those beautiful yellow flowers and brought them in as a bouquet for their mommy. It's like a rite of passage in childhood. That's part of the wonder they see, the fascination they see. So they've taught me how to approach life with childlike wonder and see Spirit's creation new each day with new, fresh eyes. to appreciate the beauties and the miracles around us. And there are miracles around us. Look, all you have to do is watch to see. I had the most interesting, fascinating thing happen. First time in my life, and I am not young. First time in my life, this past Wednesday. Where we live, the back of our lot has a little creek on it, and there's trees on the other side, and on our side there's some smaller trees and some bushes. And over in the one corner, there's a place where the limbs of the tree go down to just about a couple of feet from the ground. And we have all kinds of animals, because we're kind of out in the country. So we have lots of birds and squirrels and rabbits and an occasional raccoon and an occasional fox or two. But what we have is we have a small herd of deer that come by regularly. And they come by in our backyard because they know we won't run them away. They're actually friendly enough. They'll let us go out and stand on the deck and watch them as they nibble in the grass, nibble on the tree limbs, the low tree limbs, nibble on my wife's flowers, all of those things. So Wednesday afternoon, I thought, here it is. It's right around noontime. I saw the mailman go by. I'm going to walk out and get the mail. And as I go out the door, to the side door between the house and the garage, I always check the backyard to see who's out there and what they're doing. And there was the usual assortment of birds and squirrels and rabbits. So I walked 100 feet out to the mailbox, get the mail, and I realized, thank God, if it weren't for junk mail, I wouldn't get anything but bills. So I have a handful of junk mail, and I'm walking back to the house, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just run around, go ahead and throw it directly into the recycle bin. And as I walk between the house and the garage, I look up, and there is a young doe nursing a new fawn. And the doe, of course, perked up her ears and looked at me and froze. So I just quietly backed up, and I went up the steps into the house, and she took off and she went back over to that sheltered area. And I thought, boy, that's a young fawn. And then I realized as he started to try to walk to go with his mother, his legs would buckle and he would fall and get back up, and then he'd walk it and then fall again. And I realized this is a newborn. And I was privileged and fascinated to see the circle of life occurring in my own backyard. So that fascination that children have, that wonder, lives in my heart. It's just a fun experience. A second thing I learned from my daughters is the power of forgiveness. Now, children are quick to forgive and quick to forget. Their hearts just don't have time to be burdened with grudges and resentments. Now, that's not to say they don't have disagreements. Let me tell you, my daughters, and this is so true of adolescent daughters, between the ages of 11 and 15. So they would come trooping out at about junior high age and say, you have to move so-and-so, whoever the younger sibling was they were rooming with, to someone else's room. She's so immature. So that way we'd get that, and I'm going, I'm sorry, we don't have any other available rooms at the moment. We're booked up solid here. But we would get that one, and then they somehow would work out their differences. The most fun time, of course, was we would load 4 or 5 of them into the mom's soccer van, and we'd take off for a 10-hour drive to South Georgia to visit their one grandmother. And they'd be sitting in the back seat like this. And you could hear the growls, and she'd say, she's looking at me. I'm sorry, she's looking at you. I can't do anything about it. Make her stop. I said, so I tell the other one, close your eyes, please. And I look in the mirror, and all I see is this little smirk. But this only went on for maybe 90 minutes or so, and then they got over it, and they became friends again. So they taught me that you can do this, you can reconcile. And it reminds me that forgiveness is not just an act, it's a way of life. And it heals and it strengthens our relationships. The third thing my daughters taught me was unconditional love. I'm not watching you got to gong me or something if I go too long. The third thing my daughters taught me is unconditional love. That love is not based on conditions. It's not based on expectations. Their love was pure and unwavering. I mean, I still get Father's Day cards from them, so I must have been something okay. But it echoes the love of Spirit for each of us, its creation. And it challenges me to love others with that same depth and that same purity. So when I speak of unconditional love, I not only am speaking of the love of the creative Spirit for its creation, I'm thinking of the love of my children for me as a parent. I know that my Creator deserves it. I don't know that I always do, but I really appreciate it. The fourth thing they taught me was to live in the moment. You know, young children naturally live in the moment, and they're excited about it. They're full of energy. Right now, their minds are going on. The imagination is running away from them, but they are fully present in wherever they are. There is nothing that has more energy and is more fully present than a 4-year-old boy in a Batman t-shirt or a 4-year-old girl in a Wonder Woman t-shirt. They're on top of the world. They are absolutely unbounded and unstoppable. And you know, outside of undue parental pressure, they're not at all preoccupied with the past. They're not at all anxious about the future. They are right there enjoying life. And so by living in the moment, they taught me that I can find joy and peace if I give up that old stuff that just eats at me, and I quit worrying about things that I have no control over. Just stay right here where I am. It is joyful. It is peaceful. You know, and I let Spirit be the only one that knows what the next part of my spiritual journey is going to be. I don't have to be part of it right yet. Then the fifth thing I learned from my daughters is about faith and trust. You know, children trust completely. And they have faith in their parents' love and their parents' protection. And we as parents, we go, oh, do they really? Yeah, let me tell you, my second daughter, who today is a Methodist minister, when she was a teenager and she was old enough to date, and we had some restrictions and everything, she says, oh, my boyfriend and I are going to a party a Friday night or a Saturday night, because those were the only nights she could date. And we had already confirmed that where it would be, that the parents were going to be home, that it was going to be chaperoned, there'd be no drugs and alcohol. So we said, yeah, fine. So the evening's going on, and about 90 minutes before it's time for her to come home, we get a phone call. Now, this is the day of landlines now, so you think, now you've got a receiver up to your face here. And it's her. And she's talking to my wife, and she says, Mom, a bunch of kids are going over to somebody's house, and it was somebody where we knew the parents were gone for the weekend. And she says, can I go? And then she moves the mouthpiece real close to her face, and she whispers, tell me no. She didn't have to convince my wife. My wife told her no, and she came home at regular time, but she trusted us to love her enough to save face, so she didn't have to tell the other kids, my mom and dad would be upset if I did. She just said, my mom said no. So they know to trust. They are mirrors of trust and faith. And they mirror to us the kind of trust and faith we need to have in the goodness of Spirit. Their example, let me get up here so I'm close enough to the microphone. Their example inspires me to deepen my faith and trust in Spirit, because I know that I'm always being guided with love, with peace, with compassion, and with understanding. Now, the lessons I've learned from my daughter are profound and they're transformative. I look at them and I say, you know, they've probably done a better job of teaching me than I did at teaching them. So they taught me to embrace wonder. They taught me to practice forgiveness. They taught me to love unconditionally. They taught me to live in the moment. They taught me to have trust and faith in my Creator God. Whether you have children, or whether you just work around children or with them, may we all be blessed with the wisdom of children and with the grace to learn from them. May you recognize that through their innocence and purity, we can look at them and see the face of God. And then we can look at each other and also see the face of God. And so it is. And now if you'll turn within for a moment, you feel comfortable doing so, close your outer eyes. And I'll speak a word of affirmative prayer for everyone here at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, and for everyone joining us online, and for everyone who's not present. Knowing that there is only one source of all that is, one first cause, one eternal cause of all creation. And I know that source, that eternal cause is God. And I know that God is the divine presence and spirit of the universe. I know that God is all there is. I know that God has no beginning and has no end, for God is eternal. I know that there is nowhere that God is not, for God is infinite. And I know the Spirit is everywhere within its creation, for it is immanent, and it is everywhere beyond its creation, for it is transcendent. And I know that all is good and all is God. And we are each created from the very substance of the divine. And I know that substance is the infinite array of love energy vibrating at the level of unconditional love. It's the highest love there can be, the purest love, the highest vibration. And I know that Spirit is also the energy of the radiant light of divine truth. And I know that Spirit is the energy of the infinite expression of divine good. And that is who I am. Unconditional love, divine truth, and divine good. And that is true of everyone and everything. No exceptions. So as we relate to one another, we're relating from that place of the divinity of God within us to that place of the divinity of God in others. And it is a place of beauty and light. And it is the place of peace and harmony. And I know that peace, that harmony, that love, and that light for each one of us. For that is who we are. And as we express in the world, that's what we express. And it's with great joy that I know that we are the very presence of the divine in expression. And I'm grateful for this knowing. I'm grateful for the wonder that comes with knowing the unconditional love, that sense of trust and faith that fills us. And I'm grateful for the fulfillment of this word. I know it's already fulfilled in the divine mind. I release this word into the law. I know the law is certain, it's steadfast, it never fails. I know that this word is perfect, it's good and very good, it's true right here, right now, in this moment. And I know the universe always answers yes. And so with great trust and great faith, I feel my Creator, unconditional love, embracing me and encapsulating me in a cocoon of unconditional love. And I know that is true for each one of us. And so I join with the universe and invite you to join with the universe and me in proclaiming this truth by saying together, and so it is. Thank you.
Well, I promised y'all he was the right man for the job, right? Yes. Did he not deliver? Thank you so much, Reverend Tom. And if you'd like to get some more of Reverend Tom, I invite you to join us on our Tuesday morning prayer calls at 7:30. We alternate between prayers about abundance and prayers on wholeness and wellness. And it's just a magnificent way to start your Tuesday. So, info@trianglecsl.org, of course. If you want the number for me to have a group call, you can contact Heather and she will tell you. But it is worth your while, I promise you. Okay, so now is the time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week when we offer financial support to assist this community to be a beacon of light and love for ourselves and others. Together, we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts the spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and contributes to the experience of sufficiency in the world. There are several ways that you can give. You can visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. You can text the word give using the following number, 919-629-9148, or you can mail your gift to our office. Our new address is PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. All right, so now I ask you to place your hand on your heart with your gift or an intention, and we'll say our affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing God is my source. And so it is. So thank you all so much for your support and your generosity. And speaking of support and generosity, we invite back our oh so faithful, oh so lovely, oh so giving musician, Cindy Johnson.
Thank you. We are creating a world that works for everyone. Yes, we're amazing. And we've just begun to feel the power and freedom to be who we came here to be, as we discover each other and celebrate humanity. We are creating a world that works for everyone. Yes, times are changing. It's a love revolution as we are walking together. Love is leading the way through fields of compassion to to a world that works for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. And on the home page, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form, and we will get that prayer and send it out to all of the ministers and practitioners. And in the if anyone would like to dedicate flowers to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyripplemeyer@yahoo.com. So, that's pretty. And then in the comfort of your own home, please stand for please stand for our affirmation. This is a call and response, and it goes like this. Life invites me to live with gusto and verve.
Life invites me to live with gusto and verve.
I choose to live large, and my experience is a reflection of that choice.
I choose to live large, and my experience is a reflection of that choice.
As I work in partnership with Spirit, all things are truly possible.
As I work in partnership with Spirit, all things are truly possible.
This sacred audacity fuels me to reach, stretch, and thrive.
This sacred audacity fuels me to reach, stretch, and thrive.
I am unrestrained, liberated, lifted, and ready to take on anything with faith.
I am unrestrained, liberated, lifted, and ready to take on anything with faith.
I am fired up and ready to live fully.
I am fired up and ready to live fully.
I am unstoppable in God.
I am unstoppable in God.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you. Let us have just a final moment of prayer. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been here this morning, to be with each other, to be in the presence of God, and to be thinking of things that are helping us to move forward in our lives. With gratitude for that, with gratitude for the presence of each person here, and with unstoppable gratitude for the presence of God, I let this go, and so it is. Okay.
So thank you, Reverend Betty, Reverend Tom, Heather and Martin, and Cindy Johnson, and Amy, and all of you dads out there. My dad is no longer in the physical form, so there was no better place for me to be. And I know that's true for all of us. So thank you everyone for participating. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.